Hey, thank you for being on my podcast. Thank you for asking me. Hey, how have you been? Just great, thanks for... Oh, for crying out loud, there's gotta be a better way of doing this. Hello again, this is Orman Beckles, aka the High Tech Nomad, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the program called Descript to make podcasts in a totally different way than you've ever seen done before. It's absolutely fantastic. We got a lot to cover. This is going to be a long video. But first, I want to remind you that there's a lot of great technology out there, but it can be difficult to understand and apply. The goal of these videos is to take that information, demystify it, and present it to you in a way that you can use it in your everyday life. So if you want to learn how to make technology work for you, start now by clicking the subscribe button and be sure to click the bell icon so you don't miss a video. So I have to give you a couple of caveats here. This is a very different video than what I've done before because I'm going to do all this in real time because it's important for me to show you just how easy this is, and I want you to see just how long it actually takes. So the sound might be a little wonky. I apologize for that. I've tried to, you'd be surprised. I've got so many things connected here, but I think we're okay now. I had a double echo a minute ago, but I think we're okay now. So please just bear with me on that. The second thing is that in this studio, it is incredibly hot, but I can't obviously turn on the fans or the AC because I'm talking to you. And because of that, you might see me, it looks like I'm like, got a poker hand and I got $1,000 based on it. But anyway, that's why I'm sweating like that. So just kind of work with me on that. But this is going to be an action-packed video, so you want to stay with it. So the first thing we want to talk about is Descript. Descript has been out for a while now. I did a whole bunch of different videos on it when it first came out, and I did a video on the Overdub feature, which is their AI template that takes your voice and turns it into a template that you can then use. And I'm going to show you an example of that. But the newest thing that they just launched to the public in the last 24, 48 hours is they now also give you a whole bunch of other voices that you can use in your content. And that's what we're going to use today to create a interview style podcast when I'm just here by myself. All right. So it's absolutely fantastic. If you want to find out more about Descript, you can check out the other videos. I don't know which way it is, but anyway, you'll figure it out. I have links to those. And the Overdub feature is actually based on a company called Lyrebird that I actually did a video on them long before they were purchased by Descript, and you can check out that video as well. Now, it only runs on Windows computer. You don't have a Windows computer? That's okay. We're going to talk about that very quickly. I normally don't use a Windows computer either. I normally use my Samsung Galaxy. Now I was using my 9. I'm now using the Note 20. I use Samsung DeX. We're going to have another video on that probably next week. And I subscribe to a service called Shadow PC. So for $12 a month, I get access to a $4,000 high-end Windows computer, but I don't use it to play games. I use it to run all of the programs that I normally would need to run on Windows. It's cheaper than all the other alternatives out there. It's faster than all the other alternatives out there, and it'll run on any platform, including Samsung DeX. I will be showing you how to do that. But I just want to give you a little teaser for those of you who say, look, I need to get a new machine, or I don't have a Windows machine, or I need to get a faster Windows machine. Check this out, because this is what you're going to want to go with. All right, so to run this, so normally I would run it on my Samsung DeX. I can't do that today because I got to record all this. So I am going to break my own rule and use a Windows computer, but I'm not actually using this one. So I've loaded up the Shadow program. I'm now going to click Start. I've already put in my username and password. I actually have it locked with my YubiKey key, so nobody out, not even them. If I call them and say I've got a problem, they can erase it or restore it, but they cannot access my computer. So all your stuff that you put up there is perfectly safe. So I'm all set. I'm ready to go. There's one thing I know we need to do, which is I need to click on this button here, and I need to tell it what microphone I'm going to be using. So we're going to go ahead and click on microphone, and we're going to tell it to use my Blue Yeti microphone. Now remember, this is a virtual machine that's up in the cloud, but their software is so good that it will use any peripheral, webcams, microphones, scanner, whatever I've got here plugged into either my phone or the computer that I'm using. I can use it just as if it was up there. So it's amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, so we should have that. We're all set. So here's the Descript window, and I can use it a couple of different ways. Let me first show you. So I'm in what's called a composition, and I can do things like record directly in the composition. Let's actually check that first because we're going to make sure that the recordings are working. So I just hit record. I come over here. Yep, that's good. It can always do it. And I can say, good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. So it's taking what I just said. As you can see, it's transcribing it. It's got it up on the screen, and there we are. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'll come down here, and I'll record something else. There are 3 things that I want to talk about today. And the number 2 thing I want to talk about is toilets. Okay. Now, every month, my AI voice gets better because what they do is they take everything I said in real life that I've added to this system and they combine it with what they already have. So it just gets better and better and better. Right now, my voice is not up to the same level as the voices we're going to use in a minute because they've added more stuff to them, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and play this and see what we have, and then we'll make some changes. Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 3 things that I want to talk about today. Loud enough. And the number 2 thing I want to talk about is toilets. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to, good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 3, well, I don't want to actually say 3, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to tell it overdub, and I'm going to type in 2, and then we'll get rid of the word 3. And what that's going to do is that's going to go to the AI template of my voice, either find where I said the word 2 or construct the word 2 and then place it in here for me. And then I have, there are 2 things I want to talk about today. And the number 2 thing, I don't want to say 2, I want to say 1. So I'm going to do overdub. And overdub with my own voice works best when I'm changing a flub or something. It doesn't work as well when I'm trying to create something from scratch, but the new voices they've given you will let you create stuff from scratch. Eventually, my voice will be as good as that. It's just a matter of time. So the number 1 things I want to talk about today is toilets. So we'll get rid of that and we'll do an overdub. Overdub my new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. And I'll come down here. I'll get rid of that. So every time I do that, you'll see it says generating overdub. That means it's gone off to the computer. It's figuring out and comes back. And you can see it doesn't take that long for it to figure out. And so now let's go back and play that and see what we have. Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 2 things that I want to talk about today. And the number 1 thing I want to talk about is my new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Okay, so you can see it didn't sound bad. It sounded actually pretty good, but it will be even better. And this is just the start of how we're going to use the overdub feature. All right, so you get the idea. Now, again, I've hooked this up back and forth and up and down. So you're going to hear some spikes and you're going to hear some transient sounds in there. I apologize for that. I'm going to put a link for the actual recordings down below so you can hear that, and it's a lot cleaner than this, but I wanted to be able to do this for you in real time. So I have the ability to change words, and I have the ability to add words, and I have the ability to do that with my own voice. That was up until a couple of days ago. And a couple of days ago, they launched a whole bunch of new voices, and we can actually pick from those voices. And to change a voice is as simple as picking a new one. Let's actually go with Henry. So we're going to go with Henry, and we'll go with Henry again here in Formal 2. And now let's hear what that sounds like. Now you'll see what it says down the bottom. It says generating overdub 3 of 3 remaining. It just means that it's trying to figure out what to do, and it's creating those. And you'll know when it's done because down the bottom of the screen we'll see a new waveform, and that will let us know that we have the new waveform. And the color of the waveform corresponds to the speaker. So you'll see when we do some stuff in a little bit, we're going to have 5 or 6 different speakers where it's difficult to figure out who's saying what where. We'll be able to easily see that up above and be able to see that down below because they'll all be color coded. So let's go ahead and try that. Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 2 things that I want to talk about. Oh, still kept my voice. So let's go ahead, get rid of that. It's generating the new overdubs. And now let's go ahead and play that.
Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 2 things that I want to talk about today, and the number one I want to talk about is the new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Good afternoon,
And
the high-tech nomad here, and welcome.
Stop. Henry, stop. And the number one thing that, and we'll pull that out of there. Okay. And that's it. You can hear how much better that AI voice is over mine. But like I said, every month mine gets better. So I think I got about 2 months before mine is as crystal clear as this. So let's go ahead and listen to this.
Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 2 things that I want to talk about today, and the number one things that I want to talk about is the new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Good afternoon,
so again,
the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to
editorial changes that you wouldn't normally be able to make on a podcast. So I'm going to come over here, and the number one, because I have things, the number one thing is, there we go, the new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. And you'll see it's generating new ones. Now, when you're working on a podcast like this, one of the things that's kind of a pain is you have to keep hearing the same thing over and over and over and over. So to make that a little easier, we can actually change the speed so that we can get through it a little quicker.
Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast. There are 2 things that I want to talk about today, and the number one thing is new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast.
It that way.
There are 2 things
faster. So, okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that. But you know, maybe it would be nicer if we had a female voice. So I'm going to come over here, and we'll go with Nancy, and she's going to say the good afternoon, and then he's going to say the number one thing that I want to talk about. And you can see it's generating a new overdub. And now we can go ahead and we can play that.
Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast.
There are 2 things that I want to talk about today, and the number one thing is the new Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra.
Good afternoon, the high-tech nomad here, and welcome to another podcast.
So you know I can
there are 2 things that I want
add real audio into it, and you know that I can type in stuff and use an AI version of my voice, and I now can use AI versions of their voices. So let's actually do a podcast. So I've typed all this stuff ahead of time because I didn't want to bore you with all this. So I've typed this all up, and I've assigned one part of the conversation to somebody named Beatrice. So I've decided to call her Beatrice. And in here, I've put spots where I want to respond and I want to say something. So right now it says,
with that, Orman started traveling the world solving technology problems and picked up the nickname, the high-tech nomad. Orman, welcome. I know you're pretty busy these days.
So I wrote, she says, Orman, welcome. And I want to add, thanks, B. It's great to be here today. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to put in that it's my voice. Now I have a choice. I can type it in and it will use the AI to create it. And the only issue is as I said, my AI version of my voice is not up to snuff, but we'll put it in anyways. Hi, B. It's great to be here today. But 2 months from now, 3 months from now, this is how I can do my whole podcast. I can type in both sides of the conversation. It's done the AI version. Let's go ahead and see what we got.
Orman, welcome.
Hi, B. It's great to be here today.
I know you're...
Okay, so you can see it's not bad, but we already have a little bit of a problem with B. Not that, but enough. So I'm going to actually record in my own voice so that everything's a little better here. So I'm going to click on the record, and I'm going to get ready, and then I'm going to say, hi, B. Thank you very much. It's great to be here today. Hi, B. Thanks a lot. It's great to be here today. Hi, B. It's really good to be here today. Okay. So I recorded a couple of different ones, right? Because I didn't like the way I was doing it. But remember, I can edit this. So here we have everything that I said, but all I can do is get rid of what I don't want. Bob's your uncle. I'm all set. So now let's see what we got. Hi, B. It's really good to be here today.
I know you're pretty busy these days. Research...
Mind blown? Okay. So now we have... I'll actually pull these off because I got mad echo in my head here. So that's what I did for the remainder of this document. So I put in where I was supposed to say something, and then I stopped and I added that. And so all of my responses are responses that were done in real time. I didn't type them in. I could have typed them in. Wouldn't sound right. We're all set. You get the idea here. So I've put them all in here, and you'll see that it shows my voice in blue, her voice in purple, and we've got all that. So I'm going to play it real fast. I'm going to just play part of it real fast, and then we're going to make some changes, and then we'll take a look at the final piece. So here we got it nice and fast, and let's just let it go for a minute.
With that, Orman started traveling the world solving technology problems and picked up the nickname, the high-tech nomad. Orman, welcome.
Hi, B. It's really good to be here today.
I know you're pretty busy these days, researching and beta testing new tech for your channel. What is the most exciting tech you've seen lately?
Well, that's an easy one, B. The most revolutionary program I've seen lately is a program called Descript.
What is Descript?
Well, Descript's a program that is changing how podcasts... Okay, so you get the idea, and that's pretty awesome. So I'm going to take a look at this. I know you're pretty busy these days. Researching and beta testing. I know you're... Okay, so you know what? I don't think she needs to say all that. I know you're very busy these days. We already know that we've already done that. So I'm just going to come back here and leave that as that. I know you're pretty busy these days. What's the most important? Okay, so we'll leave it at that. You can see every time I do it, it says changing the overdub, generating the overdub. It's either taking something out or putting something in. Let's go ahead and see what we have now.
Orman, welcome.
Hi, B. It's really good to be here today.
I know you're pretty busy these days. What is the most exciting tech you've seen lately?
Well, that's an easy one, B. The most revolutionary program I've seen lately is a program called Descript.
What is Descript?
Well, Descript's a program that is changing how podcasters and videographers do editing by allowing them to edit media the same way that they would edit a text file.
Interesting.
But B, the really amazing part is a feature they have called Overdub.
What's Overdub?
Overdub is a feature that allows you to create an... Okay. All right. So that's all I did. I went through, I put in what I wanted her to say. Then I left spots for myself. And then I came back and added that so I can sit down and do a recording session and just add whatever I want to do here. Now I wanted to show off some of the other voices, so I simply typed in what I wanted it to say, and then I just selected the other voices. And you can use as many of these different voices in your podcast as you'd like. So I'm going to go here. So we have one here. Should be doing that. So let's see what she has to say here now. And let's take it off of the 1.5 rate, and we'll leave it at 1. And let's see what she has to say.
Cake.
Each overdub clip is generated in just a few seconds.
Amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Are there other voices available besides mine?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Actually, guys and gals, would you like to step up to the microphone and say a few words?
Sure, I'll go first. My name is Malcolm. I like to explain things. I get so much enjoyment out of telling people how a light switch works.
Good day. I'm Ethan. I like to talk about things I've seen. For example, my favorite hotel is the Hotel Zoo in Berlin. It's a fabulous place. And the staff there is great, especially the concierge Stephanie.
I'm Carla, and boy do I love to cook. I'll share with you my favorite pizza dough recipe. It only has 2 ingredients. Just mix 2 cups of self-rising flour and 1 cup of plain Greek yogurt. That's it.
I'm Ruth. I've been here a very, very long time. I can tell you stories from the past and make history come alive. I can remember when the sound of milk bottles clanging outside my front door was how I started my day.
Henry's my name, and insects are my game. There are more than 12,000 species of ants all over the world. Did you know that an ant can lift 20 times its own body weight? You might want to remember that the next time you're thinking of picking a fight with an ant. If he or she was your size, they could lift an automobile.
Hello, my name is Nancy. I love to travel and tell you interesting facts from every corner of the globe. Do you know what a Minox subminiature camera, the Python editor called Thani, and the software Skype have in common? They were all created in the European country called Estonia.
And B, that's just a quick sample of what you can do with Descript and Overdub. And that's just one feature of this amazing. So I don't really like that. I said, okay, and B, that's a just quick sample of what you can do with Descript and Overdub. And you know what? We don't need that. So we're going to put a period there, and we're going to highlight that and just pull that out. And then let's just see what we have here.
They were all created in the European country called Estonia.
And B, that's just a quick... Now, there's too much of a pause there between when she says Estonia and I say that. So I'm going to just drag this over, and you can see that little piece is telling me exactly how much time is going to be in between. So 0.24 seconds. So now that's hopefully not too close, but we'll...
I love to travel and tell you interesting facts from every corner of the globe. Do you know what a Minox subminiature camera, the Python editor called Thani, and the software Skype have in common? They were all created in the European country called Estonia.
And B, that's just a quick sample of what you can do with Descript and Overdub.
I'd love to see how this is done. Do you have a video?
Actually, B, I just posted a video showing... Okay, so that's how this is done. Can you imagine that this is how you're going to be able to do your podcasts and your videos? Again, we're going to be doing a video on videos very soon, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Here's an example of one of the other voices. This is the movie phone guy voice, and I really enjoy this one. I play with this one a lot, so let's take a listen.
Additional voices provided by Descript. Descript, is it live? Or is it a highly complex artificially created voice? B5's wardrobe was provided by nobody because she is not a real person and doesn't need clothes. Guest of the High Tech Nomad podcast, stay at the Crowbar Hilton. When you're here, you're not going anywhere. This is your announcer, Don Descript, speaking.
Welcome to a very special high-tech nomad pod.
Hopefully your mind is racing. You're realizing that you can do interviews with yourself by doing it that way. You can then use these voices to narrate parts of your podcast, or you can use it to do part of your podcast or narrate parts of videos. And again, when we use this with videos, you're going to see there's a whole bunch of other things. We are almost at 10,000. Once we get to 10,000 subscribers, there's a whole bunch of things that we can do that we're not able to do now. So please help us out. Hit the subscribe button. Help us get over the finish line, get to 10,000. And until the next time, this is Orman Beckles, a.k.a. the High Tech Nomad, signing out.